Did you want to introduce yourself or did you already do that before I got here?
No, that's right. I'm Shannon Krajewski. I work at LACCD and I'm a Vision Resource Center ambassador as well. Hello.
Okay, so I'll share my screen. Today's goal is to show you how to create communities and explain some of the differences between different types of posts and some of the features that you have. And then also to give you some time at the end to set up your own community if you want to while we're hanging out and able to help you. So you start by logging into your local portal and you'll come and you'll see this all communities page. It's up here under communities. And I've noticed that some people's tabs are in a different order than mine. And I don't know why that is, but yours may be in a different spot, but the all communities list here. And it'll bring you to this page. These are all communities I'm already a part of, and anything with that CCC at the beginning of it is a California Community Colleges community, so it's a statewide community. But you can also have your own local communities. So the ones down here under Browse Communities are all available to you. So these are all public statewide communities that anybody in the system can join and view. And then all the way over here on page 2, we'll get to the communities I've made. So that we have a few different ones that we've made for our campus and district, but I made a test community for this event today and I called it the VRC Admin Working Session Communities. So click on that. And this is just the home page. This is what it looks like when you first join the community. You won't see any of the stuff here under this feed here. It doesn't show up until you've actually joined the community. But when you go under options, it'll let you follow the community, and then that way or join community, then you can follow it if you want updates sent to you for that community. Once you have it created, you can edit it and delete it. And then if you don't want the updates anymore, you can leave. Guess I should go back and actually just start a new one and show you how to start them. So start a new community up here in this tab. Click on community. And then you have to give it a title. Type in the wrong place again. I have 2 computers in front of me. I do it all the time. And a description. And then if you want to have a banner or like a background that shows up at the top of your homepage, you can add that here. You can also use the custom HTML widget. I haven't ever done that for a community. Shannon, have you done that with any of your communities?
Yeah, so you can actually ask for help with that. If you put in a ticket, the folks at the VRC Foundation will help you create a widget, and that shows up not where the banner shows up, it shows up underneath where it shows topics and all of that, it shows up there. We can show them a sample of that after. But if you want help creating something like that where you can have links and all that, just put in a ticket and the spiffy folks will help you out.
It's actually way easier than it seems for the most part. But yeah, we can actually show you real quickly how to do that at the end of this call if we have time as well.
Perfect.
We all learned something too. Okay, so the settings for your community, you can choose whether or not you want the community feed to be on or off. I don't know why you'd want it off, but if you have it on, it'll show up like the example I showed you a minute ago, where anything that's been posted after you joined will show up on that main page when you log in. Membership, this is important. The difference between invitation and auto enrollment. So invitation means that whoever the community is available to can join the community if they want to. Auto enrollment means that whoever you attach to as availability, they're automatically enrolled in the community. So in most cases, you're not going to want to do that. One example I can give of when I did do it is I created an FAQ community for how to use the system and like questions and answers to a lot of the common questions that I get. And I enrolled my whole district in it. So that way they would all be able to see updates when I add new information to it. And then they would all already be enrolled and have access to it if they could go. And I have that linked on my homepage so they can click on that button to go there and look for questions and answers of those common things. But most of the time you're gonna just wanna make it available for whoever would like to join. So then here's where you would add your availability. So primary division would get you your whole college or district. You can also do just a group. If you've made a custom group of people who are, you can create communities for a group for a specific topic if you like. So if you do that, you could make a custom group of users who are going to access this community, and that way it won't be visible to everybody. You can also just do individual users. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of this instead of creating another new one, and then I'll go back into the one I made earlier. And this one is only available to me at the moment. So since I've already created some posts, they're showing up on the home page. And these posts are all an example of a different type of post that's available. So a discussion post, it seems to be the most common thing. And I think that's because when you go into when you type here, I think it comes out as a discussion post. That's the way that it just shows up by default if you make a post from the homepage. We want to discourage people making posts from the homepage, and this is why. So this post here is one that I created from this homepage on that box up here. And so this is how a post on the main page shows up if you don't follow the inconspicuous instructions for adding a title. So this little teeny tiny dot right here tells you if you click on it, it's not clicking. There we go, hover over it. Postings need a title and a body. So if you want it to show up as an actual title when you're starting the post from this page, you have to put quotes around it. So oops, title, and then you type the rest of the post. And it does make you choose a topic. I only have one topic folder, so that's the one that's doing. So it shows up as a title because I put those quotes around it, but it's really not obvious that that's what you need to do. So most people will just start typing and then it turns into this run-on sentence and then continues on with the rest of it. And you can't do any customization there. But if you go into a topic folder and create a post, you can do fun stuff like this, where you can change things. You have a whole text editor, just like you would in Microsoft Word, and you can embed web links to it. So there's a lot more control over it that way. So if you go over here, up here into the topics folder, you can create new topics. So if you want to create an additional topic folder, just make it up as you go, whatever you want it to be. You decide who you want it to be available to. For now, it's just me, since I'm the only one in this community. And there's nothing in there yet, so it'll let you manage topics. But I'm going to go back here to the topics and show you the ones that I already did. So this folder is differences in posting types. So there's 4 different types of posts, and these are all an example. So discussion post, I created this one earlier. It seems to be the most common, and I think it's because it's the first one in the list. You can add up to 3 attachments to it or 1 video, and then you get the full text editor when you do it that way. Back here. A file post is just one where you can add only 1 file to it. So it's just if you want to add it, if you're trying to share a document or something with everybody, that's a good option. And that's, for like less information probably. Now, a Q&A, in my opinion, a Q&A and a discussion post are essentially the same thing. They have all the same features. You can add the same number of words and documents and things to it. So I think of it as if you have a question you want to ask and you want someone to answer, then you can post it as a question here, and then people will respond to that. But you can also do that in the discussion post. So, and if anybody has any, Shannon or Kaden or anybody, if you have a different concept on that, please let me know, because I was like researching this earlier, trying to figure out what is really the difference, and I could not find anything definitive.
Well, you can mark it as answered, and I think that's kind of the main difference. And I don't do them. You can, so like as the moderator, if you answer the question, you can mark it as answered, and if you set up trigger emails, people can get an email saying that their question was answered. But for the most part, the way we use communities, most people are asking sort of generally, not like yes or no or whatever. It's more, how do you handle blah, 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 more open-ended kind of a thing. And so they usually create them as discussions, but that's, I think, the difference there with the questions.
I agree with
Yeah, I
that.
couldn't even find that in all the online help stuff I was reading. That's funny.
Ta-da!
Okay. And then the last type is a suggestion, and that one you can vote up or down. So you can create a suggestion and it has this little thumbs up and thumbs down on it. So when you post your suggestion, community members can thumbs up or thumbs down if they agree or disagree with it. And then the moderator can also mark that as featured, accepted, or completed once the answer's been accepted and feel like that's a good solution. And you can follow the suggestion if you want to see what other people say after they, or see when people thumbs up or thumbs down or make more comments on it, then you would get notifications about that if you have those emails set up. Okay, so back on the home page, this is how each of those post types would show up in your feed. So here you can see there's those thumbs up, thumbs down buttons. And you can ask your question, documents. So let's see. So I would say the other big important thing about communities is to make sure that you have your email digest set up and your trigger emails. So if you have there's trigger emails that will notify a poster if someone has replied to their post. And that way they immediately will get an email knowing that they got a response, and that way they can go back and interact if they need to. But there's also the daily digest, which is, if you have it set up for your college, it lumps all of your emails from communities together into one. So if however often you want it sent, for us, we have it set up to send once a day at 4 o'clock. So anytime, if somebody's a member of 5 communities and 3 communities have new posts that day, they'll get one email at 4 o'clock that has all 3 of those new posts in it. And if there's no new posts for that day, they won't get any emails at all. So it's just a way to kind of minimize the amount of email you get, but then also make sure that people are being given that information related to the communities that they want to follow. So
an email digest was the topic of our last training that we did last month, and I was just finishing editing a more condensed version of the tutorial. So that should be posted in the community later today or tomorrow at the latest. So if you haven't done email digest, we will be posting all of that today or tomorrow. And we highly suggest that you do that. It also includes these trigger emails that Jessica's mentioning too, how to do those as well. So coming today.
Going down my list on that. I think I covered everything on that we're supposed to cover for this.
I think we just want to tell them a little bit about why you would use a community as opposed to like a listserv or an email. Which would just, sure, yeah. So basically, for example, anybody who used to be in the 4CSD listserv, for example, is a statewide community. You should all be in their PD practitioners community. We used to have a listserv where we would email everybody. And the problem with the listserv is that you can't see the discussion. It ends up being kind of a back and forth email, or people only respond to just the person that sent the email and not everyone. Whereas the community, it has the back and forth discussion that you can go back and refer to forever, right? Like, it's not like, hey, send me that document. And then you got to go find the document in your email and all this. And then folks who are join the conversation late, right? They become a PD coordinator a year or 2 or 5 years later, can still go back and see all of the information and discussions and reference those and search them, rather than have to keep reposting, an email, or sending an email about something that's already been sent before. So it's a great way to sort of have an ongoing life of a community and an ongoing resource, instead of having to dig through and receive all kinds of new emails about all kinds of things. So highly useful there. And I think some people are even creating communities for college announcements, and we'll get into that as well. But that's why it's really, really important. But they're only really useful if you turn on the email digest. So see aforementioned video coming today, and making sure that you're turning on the email digest for your campus, at the very least for your own personal knowledge, to make sure you're getting all the posts for the college system admins community and the PD practitioners community. So that's a little bit about the difference and why these are important are more useful than an email listserv.
One thing to keep in mind too is if you once you start getting your users to use communities more, it's probably best to offer a little bit of training on it so you can, talk about how the best way to create a post to make sure you can use the full text editor and get your point across correctly in the right format. But also to note that anything that's been posted before they've joined the community isn't going to show up in their feed. So when they first join a community, this whole page is going to look blank on the front, except for whatever the stuff is that's pinned at the top, like the banner or that HTML widget that they're going to show you later. So it may look like there's no information there, but they do have access to all the same information. They just have to go into the topics folder to find it. So that's not super intuitive. It's something we have to kind of guide people towards, but it's a good thing to point out for everyone.
Yeah, there's a tutorial that I made for the PD practitioners community that you could always take a look at as a potential like template to steal and edit for your own communities if you wanted to create something similar. So I think that's it. But Liz is going to tell us about the really, really cool, and I did it yesterday, the new training for community moderators that's in the Vision Resource Center.
I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen. Grab that. So yeah, so I first want to start off with mentioning that I hope you can see my screen. I'm like using 3 right now. So if you're a community moderator, you should have received an email yesterday announcing the new moderator support training. It's titled Moderating Vision Resource Center Communities. A lot of what was discussed earlier right now and other things that I'll go more in depth to in just a little bit, is all in this training. So anything from character limits, the different types of posts, socialization strategies. I think I can confidently say and speak for myself and the Vision Resource Center team that we highly encourage everyone take this module. If you are thinking about creating if you're thinking about creating a community, if you are already a community moderator, or if you're not going to create a community, but you just want to know what goes into creating a successful community, I highly recommend taking this module. Creating communities isn't like a really quick thing. It takes time. I say creating communities is truly like an investment and time and in patience. So this really lays out everything that you may need to know about a community and how to launch it, how to engage with members in a 45-minute module. So everything we could ever know and learn about communities is in this module right now. So I highly encourage all of you to take it. It's truly helpful. I'm not just speaking for that because I helped in it. I really do think it was, I really think it's useful. Again, talking about that investment piece, I also want to emphasize the importance of socializing your community during the launch, before the launch. We can all do all of this really great work to create our communities, but people don't just naturally come even if we build it. So I created a document for everyone to be able to use. I'll post this in the PD community once it's finalized and completely finished, in the college admin community. I'm sorry. And it truly just lays out everything that you should do and can do to socialize your community. I start off with talking about the quick guide to building your community. I use this for system-wide communities when they're launching, but this can really go hand in hand with local college communities as well. Writing out your description, setting up your topic folders, how, why it's important, starting the conversation into each topic folder as well. Earlier, it was mentioned the HTML widget. We encourage you to use that HTML widget. And again, why it's important. It's an introduction to everything a member is going to be able to see in your community at a first glance. So that lays it all out right here, reminding employees about your portal after the launch, reminding them that yes, they can go in and see the community, but they can also look at different features and functions. So they can go through the 10,000 learning modules, they can connect with connect and collaborate with peers across the state. I'm trying to not move my mouse too much. But there's a lot of different things that you can do within a community and socialize it. And I try to demonstrate and explain that all in this document. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, I try to have this all ready to go. Lastly, I do encourage you all to join the CCC moderator support community also. How many times can I say community in 5 minutes? Too many. It's still a work in progress, so I do want to mention that, but I do try and post all the important updates as soon as they come up, as soon as I can, and we'll continue to work on additional posts for this community. So if at any point you launch your community and you have questions about how to engage your members, maybe you've done all of the socialization strategies and still people aren't coming, like what's happening? What are other people doing to get members into their communities? How are other people building successful, engaged communities? Come in here, ask those questions. We'll try and help and answer the best that we can. Any general questions, any community questions, maybe you don't know exactly how to add something into your community. Maybe you want to change something that you don't remember how to update your description, or you need to change your title for some reason. We can help you in this community for all of that as well. So this is definitely the space to go for all community needs. That's the goal. That's the hope. That's what I'm trying to make this be.
Liz, can you repeat where they can find the module?
Yes. So the module, if you search Moderating Vision Resource Center Communities up on this top search bar right there, it will be one of the options that show up. Let me do it right here. And then I can also, so come up in this drop down and it'll also be the first training result. So you'll be able to find it there. And I'll also make sure I add it into the socializing your Vision Resource Center document. So you'll have it when I post it there as well.
Great, thank you.
That's
and is
all.
that also in the college system admins? Did you post it in the college system admins?
I will.
Okay.
I can do that.
Perfect. What questions do folks have so far? Sorry, Liz, were you done? I didn't know if you were.
Yes.
It's good. I went through it yesterday. It didn't take very long, and it's really well organized and easy to follow. So definitely recommend. Hi, 2 thumbs up on the module.
Thank you. I'm trying to see if anyone has any questions. No, that was, yeah, how to get to the community or to the module. So y'all make sure I add that into the document before I post it as well.
Perfect. So we wanted to show you also some ideas for how you could use like different samples of communities that you might be interested in thinking about. I'm just going to need some help from somebody centrally to pull up some of these, but we wanted to show you the all staff one from Palomar College. I don't know who's going to drive that one, but this one is used similar. Jessica mentioned she had like an FAQ one. This one Palomar developed a few years ago, and they use it to post all staff information and announcements and things like that. And because they have their email digest turned on, that's how the information goes from being in the community, being pushed out through email to the college community. So anyone who's got super rights.
I'm getting in there right now for you.
Awesome, thank you. Cool. So is anyone thinking about, or does anyone have something like that already for their college, or thinking about using it in that type of a way? Or interested in doing so?
I'm curious to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Which one was it again?
It was for Palomar. It was
Yeah.
there was an all staff one somewhere in
Okay.
there.
Let me see if I can find it.
I think it's called general information.
Okay. Let me see.
Palomar is the one that gave me the idea for the FAQ community. That was Kelly did that for them way back.
When they
And
were
I wish
first
I had-
launching, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had thought to do that sooner.
Okay, so here is their community. This one you're talking about, Shannon?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So you can just see that they have all kinds of general information here, announcements, And they've got a couple different kinds of topic folders here that are sort of general. And what they did is, this is one of those examples where you would auto enroll your campus into this. So that everyone was getting those notifications. Is one of those few times you would auto enroll people. And so this might be something you could think about developing for your college. And again, you can see the value here that, you know, it's always going to be in one place. You can always go back and refer to it, and people aren't digging through their emails. And even people hired afterwards, you know, later on can always go back and find out whatever the information is here. So the other beauty, of course, is that you don't have to, people aren't having to bother, you know, I picture like people are always emailing our vice president's secretary and being like, can you send this out? Can you send this out? Can you announce this, you know, show and blah, blah, blah. So all this could be posted by any of the users here, and then it would automatically get sent out through the email digest. Again, you have to turn on your email digests in order for this to really be useful. But all of it is there, and any users can put stuff in here as opposed to having to constantly borrow or bother the vice president and secretaries to send stuff out. Maybe that's just our campus. Is that happening on your campus? I don't know.
And as you can see, they use it often. I mean, there's something here almost every day. So they're definitely getting some good use out of this. So.
Yeah, and then you don't have to, you know, like we bother the department secretaries, and then we also, our PR person has to create like this weekly newsletter. I mean, all that stuff could just be in here and not have to be, you know, wasting all kinds of time formatting all kinds of silliness. So thoughts about, any thumbs up? People thinking about using it in that way? I'm gonna start thinking about using it this way.
I like that idea. I'll have to, getting people to actually go and post their announcements, and there's a different story, but I could do it.
Right. So there's other communities that we could show you too. So you can look at the, we were going to show the Guided Pathways community. Is anyone else following any statewide communities maybe that, that are really busy and active? I know Guided Pathways is like that.
I have the Guided Pathways one. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's look.
Yeah, I was just pulling it up. Thank you. Perfect.
My page one. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out is there's a social feed widget on your that you can add to the homepage. I've renamed it to updates from your communities. But if you have that on your homepage, then when people log in, they'll see any of the most recent updates from their communities in that box there. And you can put it wherever you want on the page. I just stuck it over there in the corner, but that has actually been really helpful for me to see when, because I'm in here every day. So it's easier for me to keep track of when there's something I need to answer or look at.
Wait, I have a quick question. How did you do that on your welcome page? Because that looks awesome.
The whole welcome page?
Yeah, like
We need a whole other session on that, Jackie.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
this is awesome.
But it's good that you asked that, because maybe we should add that to the queue, like how people can design their welcome pages. If you go into the college system admins community, Jackie, I think there's some posts about people sharing that. But if you want to respond to that and request that we put something together, helping people kind of redesign or think about how to add some different slick things to their welcome page, that would be great. We'd be happy to respond to that.
Thank you.
This has evolved over time. And I'm actually on board with it again, so it'll change soon.
Jackie, you can make it a suggestion and we can all like it.
It looks great. And
How about
that's
that?
why I'm like, oh, I might borrow this format.
Yeah, it gets easier after you've gotten used to doing it. It gets easier, but I've created the images in Canva and saved them, and then there's a whole process for getting them on the page. But once you've done it a couple of times, it gets easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of, if you search in the system admins, there's a lot of samples, so you can kind of browse through, but just because it looks really good.
Okay, Guided Pathways. Thinking very slowly.
That's right. Jackie, put that in as a suggestion though in the college system admins community, and then like I said, people can like it up. Who wants a training on welcome pages?
So this one has a lot going on. Popular tags. If you click on one of those, it'll take you to all the posts that are a list of all the posts that have that tag in it. And this, I'm assuming this is that widget. Actually, no, this is a learning community one. I was tinkering around with that earlier, trying to figure out the difference between a learning community and a regular community. And it's something like this, like you have these 2 training modules at the beginning of it. But other than that, it seems like it's mostly just a regular community. Was there anything specific we wanted to highlight in here, or we're just taking a look at it?
I don't think so. I think we're just showing it as a sample of a really active community. We've got 1,100 members in there. So, and again, like any of your members that are in there aren't getting email triggers unless you're turning them on, the digest and the triggers. So you may not think that people are in here, but people are in these communities, right? And we want to make sure that we're empowering them to get, you know, the information that they've signed up to get from these communities. So really important to get those emails turned on.
And-
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one thing about that community. It's very active in that there are a lot of people who are posting. I don't see a lot of comments. And I think that one of the things that we have to remember when we build the communities is that we need to find our champions, you know, find the people who are really supportive of whatever the content is and encourage them to start those conversations. Some of the other communities we've looked at, you know, they had like the Palomar one had multiple people putting information up. And I think that kind of builds credibility among your users, that lots of people are, it's not just the person who owns the community, but it's kind of a group effort to get interest. And if you look at any social media that you're involved in, you wouldn't necessarily be active in something that's not that active. So something to keep in mind as you're building these communities.
It's true. I'll show you a couple other examples of local communities. When the pandemic started, we created this, where is it? Best practices for working in a virtual environment. So this is open to our whole district. So you wouldn't be able to see this at the state level, but anybody that's in my district can see it. And there's only like 25 people in it. So it was sent out to everybody multiple times, but not everyone's paid attention. And as you can see, the last time I posted in this was almost a year ago. So it's hard to remember to maintain it. You know, I've spent a lot of time creating this thing, and then initially there was a little bit of interest and people were kind of posting things, but then as we all kind of got more comfortable working at home and started figuring it out, that kind of, everyone got overwhelmed with the amount of resources there were, and this one just kind of got forgotten. So if you do create a community and put all the work into it, it's important to remember to update, you know, add things to it and keep it updated, and that can be difficult. It takes time. I'm trying to get myself back in that too. There's a health and wellness community. I hate that I have to go to the second page for this all the time. Go to the suggestion city and vote up the whole thing to get them to let us pin our own communities however we want them. We've been trying to get that going forever.
Yeah, so you can use this for, you know, departmental or discipline collaboration, district-wide communities too, right? If you're like, we've got 9 colleges in our district, so we could have, I know one counterpart has one for all the dance and kines faculty and things like that. So, you know, once you start creating some for your college, people will ask you, you know, can we have one for this? Can we have one for that? So again, you can sort of walk them through what that would look like, and making sure that they understand what it takes to kind of maintain it and keep it alive and well, but there's a lot of potential here for sharing all kinds of information.
Yeah, this was a health and wellness community. And originally when I made this, a couple of people were posting occasionally. And we even have this one guy that does all this mindfulness stuff regularly all the time now. I made him a moderator so he could post that content in here, and he ended up never doing it. And so I was tired of being the only one posting. So I would proxy in as him and post it on his behalf, so it looked like someone else was posting. And that worked out. Yeah, I told him I did it, but yeah, it was like he was supposed to post something and he didn't do it. And I was like, okay, somebody else needs to put something in here. So let me just pretend I'm him for a minute. But you know, it's fallen off again. So I posted something in September, but I actually was just thinking they sent out those new Kaiser wellness things for March, and I was going to put them in here, and I've already forgotten, and that's 10 days into March now. So it's easy to let time get away from you with all this, but it would be a good resource if you can remember to keep it going and get enough stakeholders involved in it so that you're not the only person that's stuck dealing with it all the time. And then also to make sure you have moderators, or like we have there's a classified Senate community. So our classified Senate president was made a moderator for that community. So then she could help, edit or delete things or whatever if needed. We didn't have that need obviously, but still, it's just one of those things. But that's just a few examples of.
And that's a good point too, because I know when it came up about one of our unions had asked if they could create a community. And so we just had to make sure that it wasn't violating any restrictions about, how union communications can or cannot use district supported technology, so there's one thing to think about when it comes to the union pieces. But if there's no issue with that in your district, then go for it. It can be really helpful as a repository for all kinds of dialogue and information related to a lot of different groups. So what other questions do folks have? What did you come expecting to understand or leave with a better sense of? And if you want, you can start building a community and we can help you.
I think I was planning on creating a community for my college, but to be quite honest, I really don't know how to use it myself. So that's why I kind of was just trying to grasp any information and go from there. Because even right now, when you said suggested on the new admin page or on the college admin page, I'm like, so where do I go?
Right, let me show you then. So let me show you, right? So wait, you're seeing my email. Hold on, that's not what you want to see. Share screen, share the proper screen. Okay, so yeah, you can see VRC, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point, Jackie. So what you want to do is get comfortable as a user. So all of you should definitely be in at least 2 communities. So one, by default, you should be in the college system admins community, right?
Mhm.
This is where, Jackie, I want you to go and post. I'm going to check. I'm going to give you homework before I see you tomorrow in office hours. So again, we were talking earlier about the widget. So the widget that was created for this one. It starts, I think, right here, all the way through all of this is all a widget right there. So, so you could, it looks just like text and stuff, but that's actually a widget, HTML widget. So anyway, what you want to do is get comfortable in here. So we've got links here. So what you would do, Jackie, is you would come in here and in big red letters, this one says, do not create postings right here. Create them in topic folders. So Jackie's going to go in here. She's going to click topics and she's going to find the most appropriate topic. We're talking about welcome pages, I think, right?
Yeah.
So where would that be? Probably under learning preferences, I think. Somebody help me if that's wrong. But let's say you put it under learning preferences. Yeah. Good.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So then you would go create, you could even do create suggestion right here. And you could type in, I want my welcome. Can we have a training about welcome pages? I saw Jessica's and it looked awesome. And I want one. Would anyone else attend a session about welcome pages? And you could tag it with, well, I don't know if there's one on welcome page. Let's see. Welcome page. You could tag it welcome page. Perfect. And you could tag it for training or whatever, right? So you would do that and you would click done and then it would get posted in the feed, and anyone who's a member of this community whose email digest is turned on for their college would get a notification that says, oh my God, Jackie's got this great idea. And the email digest would give them a link to open this up and click like, and then we know that 500 people want to know all about how to create welcome pages. So cool. But in the meantime, Jackie, you could come in here. There's an instructional video that Kaden posted about welcome pages and other things about other stuff that was tagged with welcome page. So cool. So the more comfortable, it's a really great point, because the more comfortable you get in communities, the more you can see the value of them for your college, but doesn't really feel very compelling if you haven't used it, right? So the other community you should all be in is the professional development practitioners community, which was recently relaunched last month. And this is everyone who does anything related to PD statewide in our system. And this also has a widget here and a bunch of posts, and you could post in here about all kinds of stuff. We've got topics you can look for, suggested, presenters, you can ask questions, you can find out what events there are for PDA practitioners, like last week, we just had a conference. All kinds of stuff in here. So you should definitely be in those two communities, but the only reason you're going to remember to go to those communities is if your email digest is turned on. Right? So there's a theme here, people. These go together. Because otherwise the communities are sort of like a tree falling in the woods and no one's there, right? Like, you do all this great work and nobody knows about it. So I'll be posting about the email digest stuff soon, but does that help, Jackie, a little bit to kind of get the sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely helps. Thank you.
Cool. It's chicken egg a lot with this email digest stuff in the communities. What other questions do folks have, or things that you wanted to learn about, even if or suggestions of other trainings that you want to learn? That's fine too. We'll take all of them.
I'm gonna put the peer-to-peer admin guide link in the chat as well. Oh, I think I am. I don't know what just happened. I lost the link. I'll put it there in a second. But we have this big giant admin guide that has a whole bunch of instructions on it. That was started by Kelly Falcone, and we've been adding to it. And so we've been combining some of the original user guides that were in the admin community. They're all linked into this document now to make everything easier to find in one place. I'll just show you real quickly. And when I mentioned earlier about this suggestion city, so in this document, all the way at the end, you've got the little table of contents over here, Cornerstone suggestions for improvement at the end. These are all different links to posts that we have either thumbed up or added ourselves and asked other people to thumb up, because Cornerstone decides how to make their changes to the system based on user feedback and what's most popular, essentially. So there's probably millions of posts in there in that community it's in the suggestion city area, but lots of people complain about the same things. So communities here, these are all different links related to posts about adding a search function into communities or adding search and favorite. That was one that Kelly created that would give you the ability to pin your own communities or choose which ones you want at the top. And there's a lot of other users in using Cornerstone that not just in the community college system, but throughout the whole software system that would like that option as well. So, if you have a minute, I would suggest taking some time going through and logging in and going thumb up all these things. And if you have your own suggestions, you can post them in there as well. And you can add them into the system admin community, and we can put them in this document too, and then encourage other people to do it.
And there's always at least one, or just about, in the emails that send out to the college system admins, there's always like a suggestion. So always look for that. Consider it your like 2-second homework to click on that and like it, because it'll help all of us. Any other questions? Yeah, Hassan.
Hi, yes, as you're training and showing us, I've been trying to make a community as well.
Great.
One thing at the bottom, I'm just wanting to get some feedback quickly. There's a criteria for which group you want, and you can select your college or within the groups that you've created. Is that once you submit the group, are you able to edit that in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I just want to make sure it's not like I had to read. And there's also an action group. It says like community monitors, member, visitor, expert. But I don't know what that means. Does it matter which one you select?
Most of the time it's going to be community member, because you just want them to be able to view and add their own posts. Moderators would be the people who can moderate the community.
Okay, got it.
And make changes to things. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Those will be a lot of cooks in one kitchen if you make everyone a moderator.
Yeah. That can get scary.
Your soup would not taste very good. Great question. I'm glad you're creating a community. What kind of community are you creating? Just as test one?
I'm making one for our admins for our college. So
Great.
So we can put all the kind of, you said, put all the resources in one place. So once people switch up, they have all the resources still there.
I love it. That's awesome. Cool. Other thoughts or questions? We're happy to hang if people are building communities and want us to hang, so we can answer any questions that you have. But I think we've covered the content that we had planned on going, unless anyone had anything else to add. So make sure you join the PD community, the PD practitioners community. I'm going to post the information about setting up your email digest. So you definitely want to do that, and the trigger emails, all that's in the same video. We've got office hours 3 times a week. Those are linked and listed in the college system admins community. So we are here to help and do all the things. Put your suggestion, Jackie, or who you have homework to put your suggestion for welcome page training in the college system admins community and tag it. And yeah, we're here to help. We want to know what else you all want to hear about and what else you want training on. So let us know.
I will say, as someone that's always in office hours, it's amazing and you learn so much by just listening. So definitely join. I'm going to join tomorrow because I have a bunch of questions, but it's amazing. And thank you so much, Jessica and Shannon and VRC.
We love having you there. We always learn something new, even if it's one of these. You're
Yep.
doing what? Just kidding. It's good. All right. Okay, well, we'll hang for anyone that wants to hang, but other than that, thank you, and keep a lookout for we'll put the recording of this as well in the community. So thank you. Good job, Jessica.
Good job,
Good job,
Shannon.
Liz.